Hello viewers, good evening and welcome to once again another edition of practical business solutions to help you weather the COVID-19 pandemic and of course the issues that have come with the pandemic. Of course we know at this particular moment in time a number of business people are contending with so many issues. There are issues to do with financing, issues to do with the market shrinking and a couple of others. So we're here to actually offer you these practical solutions to help you ride through the storm, as some have branded it. So with me in the studio, again, I'm Charles Boji. I'll be your host for this evening. But in the studio, I have two distinguished gentlemen, practitioners in business. One is a business coach and another is a businessman. I'll start with you, Robert. Please introduce yourself to the viewers.
Thank you, moderator. My name's Robert Masiko, the proprietor of Numa Feeds Limited, located in Kabohe, Shema Municipality.
I'll again move to the coach we have in the house today.
Thank you so much, viewers, and I look forward to sharing with you this evening's interesting testimony again. I'm Charles Ochichi from Enterprise Uganda, and we have coached businesses in this country for the past 19 years, and the testimonies are big.
Very good, very good. You're most welcome, gentlemen.
Yes.
Now, this show is brought to you again by Enterprise Uganda, of course, in partnership with the Uganda Insurance Association. It's a risky time, Charles, and there are so many risks, you know, that have come, you know, face to face with business operations. And I think many who didn't really take insurance as an important aspect of business, I'm sure they're now gotten the message properly. It's sad, of course, it has come through the crisis, but I mean, there's always a starting point. First off, Charles, let's look at your aspiration, your vision as Enterprise Uganda. What would you say is your mission and aspiration today?
The mission of Enterprise Uganda is really to create vibrant and dynamic small and medium-scale enterprises in this country. And when we say vibrant, what we mean really is this, that whoever started as micro, in the next 1 year, you should be becoming small. If you have been small and you come to Enterprise Uganda, in the next couple of months or a year, you should become medium-sized. And if you've been medium-sized and you've been located in Kabohe, you should begin to come and take over the big city of Kampala. We want to see that dynamism, because it's one thing for you to be allocated a stall, for example, at Wandega Market, and then they give you 2 by 2 square meters and you remain there for 5 years. We have actually destroyed your mindset. We should give you such an opportunity, and you should build on that opportunity to scale across the different segments of enterprise growth. And that is the role of Enterprise Uganda, to create Ugandans who keep on creating businesses that deliver solutions Ugandans are happy to buy, and as they do that, they give us good jobs. And as they give us good jobs, they're also paying the taxes.
Good. And I would like to remind viewers this evening that the subtopic we are tackling today is to really get, how do you get someone from a micro enterprise to actually become a global player or an exporter, you know, playing in that particular space, Charles. And on that note, really, I'd like to pick your mind as a business coach, because last week we had two distinguished business people or personalities, one from agriculture or the agro-processing area, and another from, you'd call it furniture, interior decor, and the like.
Exactly.
What are the first, I mean, the learnings, the pickings that you picked out of that discussion in a digest?
There were about 3 broad key learnings that came out of that discussion. And we had in here 2 young people who were taking over from their founding parents. And in that respect, we had some key lessons learned from on how to run a family enterprise. And a few of these are the ones I want to just summarize for the viewers. One of those was involve your children in family enterprise from a tender age, so that they begin to know that this is our normal way of life. It's okay to work. It's okay to own a business. It's okay to go and serve a customer. 2, make the experience positive so that it should not look like a punishment. That came from the man of Ugachik. And he said that the moment that thing is positive, yes, you feel good about it. Number 3, we also learned from these people that pay your children a salary that reflects their contribution in the business. But as you give them that salary, and they are supposed to get pocket money for going to school, do not reduce the pocket money because they have earned money from the business. Let the salary be an incentive for them to say that sweat is rewarded. Let them enjoy it. Number 3, we also came to know that these children must abide by business rules. No exceptions, no favors, no familiarity, but clear targets and uniform rewards. And this clearly says that when you start a business, a family enterprise, that family enterprise doesn't know the owner. So whoever is coming to work in there, don't front the word, I'm a son, I'm a daughter. Be there to add value. So reward the person according to the practices that are available in the enterprise. Number 4, we also learned that a successful family enterprise should be preceded by harmonious family relations, so that the members that come to form this entity do not bring the baggage that they have had outside the business into the enterprise. The enterprise alone is tough to run. Don't add more baggage to it. We also learned that it's better to expose your children, if possible all of them, to the business. But when they become adults, do not impose on them the need for them to come into the enterprise and be there full time. Because some of them, as they went through school, they discovered their talents. I can be a member, an MC, events manager, and I connect with that better than selling furniture. I could become a chief justice in this country, and I aspire to go there than probably milling some grains. So please, get them exposed. Allow them also to explore whatever talents that God has deposited in them.
Don't lock them in.
Don't lock them in. But obviously there are other ways they can come in and still be involved, like becoming a advisor, a legal advisor, becoming a board member. All these aspects they can always come in.
Or your auditor.
Or an auditor. But they don't need to be there necessarily full time. That was very interesting again. The other point that came from our team was that as you run a family enterprise, because it is independent of the owner, the elements that define an enduring entity came out. And what were those? Values, policies, systems, manuals that underlie the business operations. So that as the children come into the business, these things are right there. As the children want to exit and go and do their own things, these things remain to continue holding the entity together. Finally, on the family enterprise, we also learned that founders who sweated the first sweat to get the business on the market must be respected. No matter how many degrees you as a young person you will acquire, this person who started the journey has that experience that you need to keep on extracting as much as you can. And even as the energy begins to wane, please give them a dignified way of saying, we still respect you and honor you. You started this game. So these were the key kind of elements that came from how to run a successful family enterprise. And in Enterprise Uganda, we embed all this in our very solid enterprise development solutions.
Very good.
The second part of the learnings was import substitution. And both of them, especially Nina Interiors, made a very good point. She said, it is important as we advocate for value addition for manufacturing to involve the private sector in order to address potential bottlenecks that these people tend to meet when they are migrating from being retailers to now manufacturers. And she cited a few of them. Some of them were how to choose technology, funding requirements, the skills gaps, servicing and maintaining machinery, incentives, and the funding. And those of us who read this week's Saturday New Vision, there was a story of a family of brothers and a sister who have built malls and taxi parks in this country. They attempted to go into manufacturing of garments because that's where they used to be trading in garments. Then when they went into attempting to manufacture garments, they met a lot of challenges. And they said, much as they were committed, they needed some incentives, some support from government, and nobody listened to them.
I think that's
and
a
I
good
thought
one.
that was a very valid point.
Very good indeed, especially now that government is trying to push the import substitution policy.
Exactly.
It goes beyond just the policy papers.
Very true. The last point that I thought I should capture from last week's was a story from, a question from a lady owning Care Roma. She said, here I am sweating and running this enterprise during tough times. If I'm to choose between two staff, I will choose a staff who exhibits a sense of appreciation of what the challenges are. A person who will be able to just call me and say, Madam, I know it's a tough time. I associate with this toughness, and I will take a few of my benefits off because I want us to succeed and swim across this. Many listeners associated with that statement.
Right. That's right.
They said, please, please, much as we have been concentrating about the employees who are at home, the owners of businesses are sleepless.
Sure.
We don't appreciate them. So these are some of the things that came out, but also there were two things that you closed off which were very beautiful. One of them, you said that financial literacy is key in this country. And please, Enterprise Uganda, you said, can you deepen that thing? We are suffering. And another one said, this weekly thing, this is Sunday's event here, can you make it a bit longer? And I want to assure you, the listeners, that we are doing everything it takes to make this a standard a program for you to interact with people who have done things the way they are supposed to be done, and then interact with the business supporters, business coaches, financiers, banks, so that you begin to learn how to get into business and stay right there.
Thank you very much, Charles. I think that is a good digest, and I'm sure, dear viewers, you back on track, to connect, because these series are interconnected. We know that, different people fall within different categories. There are those that are running family businesses. The other week, we're talking about, people in trade. We had Kasita here. And today, we are bringing a story of a man who is actually doing production, not within the confines of Kampala, but outside the confines of Kampala. How do you make it, at the grassroots, and you become a global player, an exporter for that matter? I know there are so many questions, Charles, that come up. People trying to figure out, how do I elevate myself from just being an operator somewhere up country, and I'm able to export, to play in that league. Robert, I'll move to you. And I think for purposes of our viewers, please tell us who you are and the story of Numa Feeds.
The story of Numa Feeds is too long. I need like the whole day to explain it, but I'll try to summarize. And Numa Feeds is a limited company, a rural-based agribusiness enterprise based in Shema. This is Western Uganda, and is owned by Robert and Masi Masiko. And we add value to assorted raw materials, millet.
Dear viewers, we have some pictures running on your screen. Sorry, Robert.
Yes,
just telling you the story. As he explains it, you can see where he has come from.
Yeah, so we do millet, cassava, rice, we do maize flour, we do, and many others. And this is drawn, all these raw materials are drawn from our farmers, from the smallholder farmers. In small groups, this is where we buy the raw materials and then add value to them. Basically, our vision is to provide high quality grain products for better livelihoods in Uganda.
I hear you. Yes. Now, before you come to where you are today,
yes,
I'm sure there's so many viewers who would like to know, where did you start? I mean, how did you start? We've seen some of the pictures with the, of you, on some really, I would say, for lack of a better word, a rudimentary,
way
piece of machinery. Paint for us that picture.
Yes. We started. The story begins when I was working with the Ministry of Agriculture, and I was retrenched when I had worked for only 5 years. 5 years, I was still young, I think 27 years.
Wow.
I couldn't sit back and sit. I couldn't sit back and just watch.
That was fast, retrenched at 27.
Yes, there were many workers, I think, in government, and they were trying to scale down, and I was a junior. So I had no much experience, but so I found myself being retrenched and given a package of 150,000. By then, you could buy like a bicycle. So when I slept and I like, no, I'm not going to sit here and just start lamenting, I contacted a friend of mine called Nwarimpa in Kabohe, and he was a fabricator. And then I had my 150, and I said, can we come together? Fabricate a machine, I buy raw materials, because there was a problem that I had seen, which I wanted to solve. Since I was an extension staff, I would really see the problems that farmers go through getting feeds from ginger. By then we had only Nuvita selling feeds, producing feeds in Uganda. So I said, now in Western Uganda, I can probably, solve that problem of animal feeds. And I got my 150, bought some few raw materials. He fabricated the first machine, and he was Nwarimpa, I was Masiko. That's the name Numa. That's how it came about.
Okay.
Yeah, so we started working together for around 2 years, and then after 2 years, he said, no, this is too much, I'm leaving you, continue.
Tell me, on that machine, which I think I'll ask my producer to again show us again, for purposes of our viewers to really appreciate this story, where it's coming from.
Yes.
Practically, how much would you produce with that kind of machinery at the time?
Because he was busy during the day, and we would work at night, and we would produce only 100 kilograms of feeds the whole night.
By morning, you only able to do 100?
By morning, we have 100 kilograms of feeds, and then I take them for marketing, as he's doing his fabrication work, and then in the evening, we come back and produce.
Wow, so you are selling in kilos, 10, 8?
Yeah, 10 kilos, yeah, around that.
I hear you.
Yes.
I hear you.
Yeah. So from there, I picked, he has gone, so I decided to register the company in the names of Numa, together with my wife. In 1997, we registered, and then we moved on. So in 2004, around there, we were visited by a delegation from UNDP. They looked at what we were doing, and eventually they linked us to Enterprise Uganda.
I hear you. Now, before you go into that space, paint for us the kind of challenges that you had to contend with at the beginning, at the start. I know you've hinted a little on that, but give us a full picture of that.
Now, the challenges, of course, you had no money. You had, you also have you have produced the feeds, which is the products, and your products' acceptability in the market is hard. They are not believing in you. Say, are these right? Are these, is he? So you have that problem of, but you have to convince them. You see, now these, you feed this one, you have to give out samples, free samples, and yet you are struggling, but you have to give out, samples to be, tested.
And that is money given out.
Yeah, so with time, they start saying, yes, I think it is right, and then you move on. Yeah, then of course, you sell in cash, because it is that money that you are going to take back to the business. Yeah, basically that, and of course we are hiding ourselves. You don't want to like URA to see you. You don't want, these licensed people to see where you are located. So we are hidden. So the location was also a problem.
You don't emerge out of your operation area to look for markets.
Sure.
So how did you circumvent those hurdles, the challenges at the beginning to actually keep in business?
This is where I come to really appreciate Enterprise Uganda. Of course, it is a government body, And I appreciate government for really creating Enterprise Uganda. When I was linked to Enterprise Uganda, I remember I knocked on Mr. Ochichi's door. I was green, coming from Kabohe, interviewed me. He asked me, you know, they had briefed him, I think the Dauda, Mr. Dauda Ture had briefed him, the UNDP representative.
Then, yes.
Yeah, he's the one who sent me there. And he asked me questions, and then I had to, he said, okay, you come back next week. So I traveled again back to Kabohe, and then I came back the following week. They also interviewed me. Then they told me to come back another week, I think. But in my mind, I thought they were going to give me money.
Okay. You are looking for the Benjamins.
Yes.
Yes.
And the third time, now they're asking me, you know, some questions that I don't think that they are really relevant, because what is the use of the husks?
Yes.
Now what question is this? And then like they are telling me, you have to get 200,000 so that we, as a contribution, so that we can train you entrepreneurship skills. So I was like, now I'm the only business. Now whom am I going to live in my business?
To come and be trained.
No, to come and be trained for 2 weeks. So it took my time and then also money. So I borrowed that 200,000. I later told my wife, and we decided, yes, you go and train. So I came with my 200,000. But I want to tell you and tell the viewers that on the first day, I did not know what was happening. I did not understand myself, because I was in a big hotel, which I've never entered. You know, so many things were going on. So the second day, then I realized that this 200,000 I paid was not even enough. It couldn't do anything. Then I also realized that I did not need the money at that particular time. If you gave me money, then I don't think I would have used it the way that it was supposed to be used.
I hear you.
Yeah.
You can hold it there, Robert. Charles, I'll bring you in here. And I think there are a number of viewers out there who can associate with Robert's story and would like to really learn and you know, the key learnings from that story. Because everyone keeps saying Uganda's economy is driven by small and medium enterprises, especially the small and micro. But not so much is actually invested in knowing what these guys contend with before they become medium and large later. Yes.
Really, I want to tell Ugandans that it's time we started to pick some of the things that work from our very own. We have had people saying, let's push people into business, and then we assume that maybe giving somebody just cash should be enough to make them become a business person. The story of Robert has brought out some interesting learnings right here. Robert was an extension agricultural staff in the Ministry of Agriculture. Robert went and started operating a milling plant of a basic nature. After manufacturing that plant, he had to start marketing. Marketing a thing he had never learned before. And the fellow, nobody will tell him that, please, let's sympathize with Robert. After all, this is our very own. Let's buy his things. They told him, no, we will not buy your things. We know you as our relative, but we will not buy the feeds from you. Then he started saying, okay, you take a bit of this for free.
The Jaribu bit.
Yes, as he was doing that, he was convinced on the value of his product. But he needed the customer to cross the line and test it. Those are things that he had to pick on his own. Along the way, he thought by teaming up with somebody, the journey would be more rewarding. The person comes in briefly and he says, for me, I'm out of this. We've told our young people, form a group. Forming groups without getting the members of the group to necessarily share the vision. However well-intentioned they are, these groups may not last. The friend of his who parted with him, he didn't mean bad for him, but he simply said that, no, you continue with that thing, me, I'm now out of it.
I've had enough.
Yes. Now, when a partner's left, what do? You need this fellow to be schooled in a game that says that, you know what, this journey you have started is a tough call. And this staff caller has got certain behaviors you must acquire. And for him to come for the training, he still came in thinking, you know what, I know I'm coming for this training, but really what I need is cash. It's a very traditional way we define an entrepreneur.
Sure.
Whether somebody has gone to get degrees, masters, whatever, they still feel, for me to get into that business, I need cash. I need cash. I need cash. He was introduced to Enterprise Uganda by one of the charter members of Enterprise Uganda, which is UNDP. UNDP believed in the philosophy of Enterprise Uganda.
Sure.
And in the formation of Enterprise Uganda, there was a study that had been undertaken globally to say, what are the behavioral traits of an entrepreneur? And if you acquire those traits, they will make you an entrepreneur. In that study, it became clear that those traits are about 10. And those traits are transferable, but transferable through a very well-structured, intense training. When we was talking about, in the training, we give you husks from a workshop. And just tell you, please, these are husks. What do you think you can use them for?
Yes.
And it was intentionally to try and teach one of the behaviors of an entrepreneur. So, what Robert is indicating here is, his journey could have been more rural and could have remained micro if he did not come for that mind-opening training that began to take him through what it means to be an entrepreneur. And from that time, he began to shoulder a journey that I know is going to continue to share with us this evening.
Thank you, Charles. And on that note, Robert, I'm sure our viewers would like to hear where you are today. We've heard your story at the beginning. So where are you? At what stage are you in terms of, you know, capacity, in terms of market? Basically, what is your place in the market?
Okay, before we move to where I am, I think I had not completed somehow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and even before I came to Enterprise Uganda, I was still struggling, you know, and when I was coming to Kampala and I was given chloroform in a bus.
Oh, okay.
And so
That's
I lost, you know, I lost the small money that I had. You know, I was coming to buy raw materials. At the same time, you know, after I recovered from the hospital, my factory, the so-called factory, the makeshift of we call it the Makoko. You will see
I'll ask my producer to flash that again.
Yeah, they will see it.
Yes.
So it had also got burnt completely to ashes. So by the time I was coming to Enterprise Uganda, I was on a crossroad. What do I do? Because I've lost this, and what do I do? So when I came to Enterprise Uganda, I started the training. I got excited. I forgot, you know, what was the other side.
Your
so
sorrows.
I had an idea, but it was not written down. I used it to get that money, you know, put it in my pocket. You know, when I'm paying, you remove from pocket, you pay. You don't know even what is the expenditure, what is the income, and all that. So we learned a lot with Enterprise Uganda. They trained us a lot, as he was saying, marketing, human resource, business planning, because it is very, 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 very important. The location where you are, I had told you that I was hiding from the URA, from the license people, from, you know, all that, tax people, thinking that, you know, I'm hiding from there, not knowing that I'm also hiding the, you know, I'm hiding from my customers.
And so, potential good connections.
Sure. So I, from there, when I went back to Kabohe, I had to relocate. I relocated. Remember, I was using only a single phase with the small machine. We were taught of persuasion, and I persuaded people. They gave me machine, they gave me electricity, connected me to 3-phase.
Okay.
I produced a lot, and within a short time, I had got money to pay, you know, because I had, you know, those tactics. You know, we learned a lot. Human resource, you know, operations, and but more importantly, the business planning. Because we used to rely on consultants. The consultant will come and write for you a plan, which you will take to the bank, and then you cannot explain it yourself. They ask you, and you don't know how to explain it.
Just, I think that's a very important issue, because a number of people, when you talk about formalizing business operations or putting in place structures, the thinking tends to run to keeping books of accounts.
Yes.
We rarely think about doing business plans, for instance. You find someone with a multi-billion business, but he has never seen a plan in his life. It has never even crossed his mind.
Yeah.
So I think that was good. You can continue, Robert.
Yeah. So we now, from going back, Enterprise Uganda helps you to. They give you a counselor. He's following you up. You are given targets. You are because you are taught how to make your business plan. So he follows you up. How far have you gone? You have targets. You have to report. And I think that's how we really learned how to do these things. And then we were connected to, auditors, for our books for the first time. That's when I started, making books. Then you formalize. You formalize some of these things. I had already registered with URSB. Then I remember with time I went and registered with URA. I started paying taxes, and I want to commend URA in some cases, because when I was going to register for VAT, some were discouraging me. Say, but VAT is going to be complicated for you. They will not even refund. They will not. But today I'm getting my refund. So sometimes it delays, but I really want to commend URA for some of the things it is doing. They are okay. They're okay with me. And I actually, they gave me an award for paying taxes well. So I really
From Kabohe?
Yeah, from Kabohe, in the rural area. So once you formalize your business, I think some of these things you really
they can come through.
Yeah, they come through.
So where are you now? At what capacity or stage are you in business before I bring in Charles?
Yeah, so far of course we still have some challenges here and there, but we've been able to have some better machinery, the better machinery to support our production. And we were actually celebrating 25 years in May, but this pandemic interrupted it. So we are employing. We started with two workers. I was the third, and now we are talking of 148, and of which 80% are women, because of the nature of the work that we do. And we are expanding in more regions, as in marketing our products, because we emphasize quality of all our products. We are expanding to most of the regions and even abroad. And I want to also thank UNBS, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, because it has been with me to make sure that they supported me to certify my products. And
because you need that mark, especially to export. Is it the Q mark or something?
The Q mark, yes. And now I'm really going forward. I want to also go for ISO certification. Yeah.
That is powerful. Charles, wow. What do you pick from that?
This is super. I will pick up from, he's just speaking naturally because that's his journey. He's talked about a trip from Kampala, from Kabohe, with this limited working capital in the pocket, not knowing that as you sit in that bus, somebody is looking for whom to steal from. He lost the working capital. He's still here with us. Persistence. As he's persisting along the way, something that totally never expected to happen, a disaster happened. The factory he built with the limited resources, with sweat, is burnt to ashes. He's still with us here. He got up and moved on. I bring this because I want Ugandans to know that the game of entrepreneurship, the grains involved in getting the journey to move, it is way beyond being guaranteed a market, way beyond being called by a bank or anybody and being told that here is the money. you must be ready for a very, very rugged, tough journey. And that, to me, is something we don't want to miss out here. But again, he touched something very familiar with banks especially. Banks will tell you that we will give you the loan you are looking for, but can you bring us 3 years audited accounts? Now, the audited accounts, the fellow will tell an auditor or an accountant that, please, I want 3-year audited accounts that will be accepted by a bank. On the basis of the bank accepting them, I will pay you. So these documents are doctored, manipulated for the purposes of getting a loan. And as he clearly said, the owner of the document can't explain his own document before a banker. And the banker is simply saying, I have targets to meet. Yeah. And I'm not going to take too much time to say that you don't know even your own document. So long as it is reading well, let me tick this part, tick this part, tick this part, come and sign for, loan, for your loan. Do you have a collateral? Let's move on. This is something I want us as a country, and even as professionals in the banking industry, to appreciate. That the people who are dealing with, many of them are innocently thinking they are trying to fulfill your terms without necessarily knowing what was the purpose of getting a 3-year audited accounts. It was first and foremost inform the owner of the application. Then the banker will be able to appreciate from there and say, okay, I've seen these challenges, the documents are confirming them. Let's now move on at this pace. But the moment we're all just saying, where are the audited accounts? Where are the cash flows for the loan that you are looking for? Even the cash flows will be doctored to make sure that this man can absorb 100 million.
Yes.
You can adjust the prices. You can adjust the volumes.
And as you do that, a pandemic like this happens.
It hits you. And as you're even doing that, even if there's no pandemic, you are taking a loan that you are going to abuse. You are not the only one in that sector. You are going to be uprooted by the competition. Another thing that I saw that was a very interesting learning here is that formalization is not just registering a company. It's beginning to have records that you begin to analyze and appreciate. And using those records, you begin to now say, which product line can I continue with? Because I'm sure NomaFeed right now has dropped some of the product lines and must be in some other product lines. And that dropping must have been informed by analysis of records. Formalization also means that some people now begin to come in as professionals. He was the marketing officer. He was the cashier in the beginning. He was the one doing everything. He was the one operating the machine. As you formalize, you begin to now say, I'm going to bring somebody to come and take over this area. But as he takes over that area, I need to train him and I need to give him policies and procedures. What else did I see from this good story here?
On that note, Charles, huh?
Yes.
Because this is a continuation. Last week we had the gentleman who called, the one who deals in apples.
Yeah.
Said every young man he trains on selling apples actually goes and steals his idea and his clients.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that actually you're empowering people? And I'm sure these are issues micro and small entrepreneurs are contending with. How do you empower people and yet continue to actually, run a business or retain them, or retain your clients as well?
I think the issue of being scared about getting a well-skilled employee who can become attractive to the market is something that can be addressed. First of all, a person who is skilled and is delivering the returns you are looking for, reward him for that. He is in the market and is seeing the rewards you are giving him, and he'll be able to say, starting my own journey, will I be able to get this?
Yes.
2, if he's very good, also get others to learn from him. A good employee should not just be there working in a silo. He should be able to build others. So much so that at any one time, there should be 2-3 people ready to take over from him. In the process, you are nurturing a very dynamic flow of skilled human beings in the country. So even if this person chose to leave, you can actually assist him to leave and let him take off well, but he has groomed enough people to take over from him. Mulwana was assisted by his own employer to leave and go into his own enterprise, but was such a great employee, a great employee. But he built and nurtured many other people, and when he left, he kept on being in touch. And for anybody listening to this program, if you are an employee, please never live with a bad image and a bad mark as you depart from your current employer.
Don't burn your bridges.
Don't do it. It's a very small world. In a very short time, the thing that you thought was easy because you're seeing it, because you're supported by the business, when you get out there, you'll see how tough it is. And you look back and just say, I wish I had been friends with Robert. I would share with him these challenges and hear how he has been coping. You need to build your bridges. And each time you leave, you should leave colleagues who are part of your great network. That's part of employment, not just a salary.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Robert, coming back to you.
Yes.
Of course, we gave a broad picture on how, you know, on where you are and where you began.
Yes.
But I'm sure some of our viewers would like to really get into the nitty-gritty on how you begin as a micro operator, and now you age into the bracket, you go into the bracket of a medium to large operator, you know, looking at your market size, looking at where you are. Because I've seen some of your products on the shelves of supermarkets in Kampala.
Sure.
And now you're looking at markets abroad.
Sure.
I understand as far as Russia and other countries.
Yes.
So if you can share with us what it entails. I know you've talked a little about formalizing operations, building structures, and all that. But please break that down for us in detail.
Basically, you have to look at as a company, when you are after formalizing, and then you have the business plan, it explains everything. Yeah. It's a journey. It's a journey, you know, you are from Kawohe, you are going to Kampala, and what do you need to take with? You know, you need fuel, you need this, you need this. So we had to do this, and it has helped us. We came up with a vision. Then with the values are very, very important. When you are building your company, you are building, because this is the foundation. The values that you build is the foundation of the company. So the people who are coming in, they are following the vision that you set, but also working with the values.
The values that you espouse.
Yes. And these are the values that are going to take you where you are going. So that's what we did. And it is also because of those values that we go and get funding. We want to thank also government of Uganda to have established microfinance support center, because it is the one that has funded us to get some of the machinery and some of the working capital that we've been using.
That's a good point, Robert, and I want you to expound that a little more, the issue of values.
Yes.
I know when people join big or larger corporate entities,
Yes.
they find, I'm sure, value is close to culture, or
Yes.
what you'd call a corporate culture,
Sure.
or company culture.
Sure.
They, even if they come with a few gaps here and there, they are shaped by the corporate culture they find in a place.
Yes.
At your level, how do you cascade, you know, those values and culture down to the people? How do you bring it down, you know, to the workers? How did you do it?
First of all, when somebody is being recruited, you know, there is a lot to be done, because first of all, I have a board of advisory, and in that advisory board, there is somebody in charge of human resource, and we invite applications, and the people who come in, they come in on merit. Now, from there, you induct them. This is a NUMA, this is what we do, this is how we do our things. It takes like a week, you are inducting this person. Because of also the people that are already there, that you also involve them to induct their fellow staff.
Colleague now.
Yes. And you move like that. And because you are giving him, they are all giving him or her feedback. So that's how we do it.
I hear you. I hear you.
Sure.
Anything else you can remember of what helped you to actually move from that micro operation to a big player now?
Of course, there are many. There are many looking at integrity. Integrity, yes, you are working hard, but then you are also looking at integrity. People, the suppliers, probably the suppliers, they are trusting you, they are entrusting you with their products. They give you, they supply you on credit, and you pay them back in time. And so many others.
I hear you.
Sure.
Charles, what do you pick from there very fast?
It is such a beautiful story. And I want to pick first from his earlier submission. There were few things that I noted, and he has again picked them, brought them out in here. He mentioned about UNBS. He voluntarily went there and said, I want to make a breakthrough to these big markets.
Well, others are running away from it.
Yes. He said, I want to be quality certified. That is a total commitment about where you are headed to. And if you are built a true entrepreneur, I want to say this very, very clearly to every listener, that a true entrepreneur is not the kind of individual anybody can own and say, now this is Enterprise Uganda person. Enterprise Uganda will ignite the journey, provide a mindset, and with that mindset now, this fellow should be able to look for opportunity wherever he can get, seek to grow, seek to multiply, and as he does that, try to transform people's lives. His going to UNBS was to see, how do I take these good products to Kampala? Yep. How do I enter with these good products to the corporate world who are going to ShopRite, who are going to, which other supermarkets do you go to? Are you supplying?
Capital Shoppers, Quality Shopper, Quality.
You see?
Yeah.
So this kind of things here speaks about what it means to build an entrepreneur. And just imagine where he came from. In the beginning, this agricultural extensionist at 27 was retrenched, didn't have skills in multiple areas. Today he is saying he has seen the power of having a business plan because it gives him long-term visioning. He has also seen the power of having a vision and values. And these values define the identity of the brand called Noma. And whoever is listening to this story, you need to go to Kabwohe. I know now they may have moved it to Kampala, but it's up to him to say it. I visited the Kabwohe operation with 80% women staffing. The way they attend to detail to remove every grain of soil from the millet. Super, and from that point I just said, if I ever want any product that Noma produces, I will buy a Noma product.
Actually, that not
just convinced me thoroughly.
Yes, I want you to dwell more on that aspect, because in Uganda we seem to sell commodities. We don't sell brands.
Yeah.
And I think the culture and value, integrity, bring out the aspect of the power of branding, because that's your identity.
Yeah.
If you can put that in better context for our viewers to really understand this, and the premium that comes with building a brand.
You know, if you are going to build loyalty, people want a few things from you: your honesty, your integrity, your consistency. And these are things for which you might have to lose out some benefits. Because if your integrity says that I will not use millet which has gotten spoiled, you don't use it. Others may go that route. You say, in our values, it will not happen. Now, by you throwing away that millet, it's a cost to you. But you are saying, I will go with that cost. He's also saying, I will employ on merit. I went to Kabwohe to visit Noma. I found people from West Nile. I found people from Kenya. I found a Kenyan, it was a Kenyan lady?
Yes, sure.
A Kenyan lady was there. I said, here is somebody who is looking for building a brand. And to build a brand, it takes all elements and all energy that you need to get right there. So these are the kind of things. When he says, integrity brings you capital. If you are listening, when he was talking about supplier's credit is actually capital being given to you as working capital at zero interest. Which bank loan can beat that? None.
Yeah.
But all it did to access such low-cost capital was to deliver integrity.
Invest in integrity.
Integrity. And as he's doing that, he's not doing that just for the sake of himself. He's saying, I have customers, I must serve well. And serve them well in a competitive environment where people take shortcuts. Because in the sector where he is, there are many people trying to do this kind of things and telling you that this one also is millet flour. Even this one is some posho flour. Please buy from me. But there comes a time you just say, if you get the millet porridge of Noma and you taste a spoonful of it and then get the other one will have some element of some soil. Okay. This one will be consistent.
I hear you. Yeah. Thank you, Charles. Dear viewers, we'll take a very short commercial break. But when we come back, and I don't want you to really move anywhere, because we are tackling the real issue that is now happening with the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, this crisis like this one, you know, builds temptation, you know, in the minds of entrepreneurs to actually cut corners in order to stay afloat. And I think we're going to pick the experience of Robert here, why it is really, really dangerous to do that, and how he has managed to weather the storm without necessarily, or without actually, you know, even entertaining remotely the idea of cutting corners because a crisis is with us. After this very short commercial break. Welcome back. Viewers, we're still discussing, you know, the issue of how you can weather the storm in the COVID-19 pandemic. But most importantly, in our minds, we have this micro and small operator. And Robert's story here has told us that actually you can make it from that level, irrespective of the circumstances. You know, Robert's story, Charles, is quite interesting. If you go to most of these towns in Uganda, for instance, Mukono, you find areas they call industry area, where people, like where Robert here began, are domiciled, for lack of a better word. They are millers, they are doing this and that. But we rarely pay attention to those guys. We don't even look at them as people adding value or moving to the stage of manufacturing and that kind of thing. So I think this message really speaks a lot to that kind of, you know, that segment of the population. But before you come in, again, I want to pick Robert's mind on the reality we are contending with today. COVID-19. How did it impact you, and how have you managed to actually ride that storm?
Yeah, I think now this pandemic, in our language we say, irona katarho. When the wind blows, something that is already weak, then it has taken you. So we really, it is a struggle. We are, people are stressed, and we already had challenges. Now we have added this pandemic, so it's a problem. It's a big problem, unless government comes in and try to intervene, because as you are aware, the SMEs contribute 70% of the GDP, and if we don't get a package to really improve on our business, then I don't know where we are going as a country. But usually I do a list of, the way I do my things, I do a list of challenges, because I mean, in this world, in business, we are there to solve challenges. So the challenges, and then I look at this challenge is going to be solved by this one, this one, this one is an expert, this is me, this is my team, and all that. But I want to really thank my staff, my staff in Kawohe, and also my advisory board, for really, and also most especially my family, my family members, especially my wife. They have been with me. They have been with us in planning on how to move forward with all these challenges. And some that we manage, there are some that we have managed to solve, but there are some, these are like policy challenges. Last financial year, we had, I really struggled with the policy challenge, which was holding 1% on agricultural products, of which I was chosen as to be an agent of collecting that money from the rural
the farmers.
These are rural farmers. And you are like, I am going to cut 1% from the supplies, and then say, what is that? Where are you taking it? You are a thief.
I can imagine
And
a farmer
then,
in Kavoy trying to be explained.
Yes, and then he goes to the neighbor and he says, then he will tell people, don't go back to Numa because he's a thief. he works with URA and they take your money. And so you like, now this challenge, I can't solve it.
Yeah.
It is the government to come in and solve this challenge.
Thank
and
God it was
I
sorted.
had, I was almost closing. And then I was like getting advice, you maybe change the company. But then 25 years with Numa, and then I changed the company to what? I've lost everything. And then I came to URA, I went to Minister of Finance, they sent me back to URA, this thing was not solved. I went to Minister of Trade, I want to thank Uganda Manufacturers Association. We sat and, and PSFU, so we had to go into this thing, and finally it was solved by the parliament. And so it moved away. Though I still have the 6%, I'm an agent for, collecting 6% withholding tax. And remember, I'm in the village. This is a rural setting. So where am I going to buy things and withhold 6%? So I think we need help. Government needs help through its agencies, URA and the Minister of Finance. They really has to look into this thing, sensitize the people. For me, I like, paying taxes. But let people be sensitized. And if it is a tax, let it cut across so that one person does not suffer. Because I'm located in the village. We should have, like SMEs in the villages, they should have incentives. Because the person, it is easy. Most of the logistics, I get them from Kampala, take them to Kabohe. So that cost, you need a consultant, you have to go to Kampala. Even when they are doing research, they call you, they don't want to come. You see, I'm from Minister of what, where are you? I'm in Kabohe.
So research is done on phone.
Far. So they call you, can you fill this, can you answer this? And because it is far, I'm in the village. So what incentives are we getting as SMEs in the rural areas settings?
Charles, I'll bring you in here. Well, I know government has a policy. I don't know how effective that is, though, because if he's raising that, it means there are issues that need to be done. If you set up a factory, a processing unit out of Kampala, you're supposed to get certain dividends or incentives. But I think in our subsequent shows, we can probably bring in someone to offer some of those answers.
Very true.
But your quick learnings.
Very true. One is that a journey of an entrepreneur is never a smooth ride. And you need certain mindset kind of standpoints that will always be your fallback position. This man's ability to move to UMA, to whoever, to URA, and engage any other person in our 5-day training, now it's a 6-day training. When he came in, it was a 10-day training. There is a whole 2 days dwelling on persuasion and networking and the power of persuasion and networking. In other words, as you face these challenges, one of the things that you must realize is that waiting for just some miracle to get them come out there is not going to be the solution. Sweat it out, walk, move, talk, knock doors, ask. And that's exactly what he's doing. But again, as you do this, as you hear from him, it came out in the previous panel. Government, as they come up with these policies, talk to the private sector.
Sure.
As you are trying to do this with the NOMA, the other people are not in the same game. NOMA will now say, why don't I move away from manufacturing to just some rentals? And maybe just remain somewhere there.
Or being a trader.
You've just lost a manufacturer who has been at the game and has been at the game for a long time. And you can see how the pain was going through. How do I lose 25 years of skills and expertise that you don't get from a textbook? But just the policy is making me to get up to that point. And those who listened to the president yesterday, he said, how come you are putting in a tax that is making a manufacturer to remain idle for a year or 18 months? Please, if this person is bringing in jobs, if this person is bringing in some taxes through salaries that are taxed, and then there's also something that he can pay which is accepted, please talk to him. In other words, it's okay to have our taxes paid, and as he says, he wants to pay his taxes.
I hear you.
Sure.
But as he's paying the taxes, he wants fairness.
Thank you, Charles. Dear viewers, we would really like to make you part of this discussion, this interface, because we know that there are a number of you out there watching us, and probably you have a couple of burning questions. So, but I need to mention that Numa has won an award under Bubu. That is Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. I think, Robert, you can build that, you can lift that award so that our viewers get to see what we're talking about here. The point is this: you're going to tell us whether you're actually deriving dividends from that policy. But let's pick some of our callers as you process that.
Yes.
Hello, what is your name and question? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good evening. Your name and question, and please reduce the volume of your TV set.
Yes.
Hello? Sorry, we've lost that caller. Charles, Buy Uganda, Build Uganda.
Robert.
Brother
Yes,
Robert,
yes.
do you feel the benefits coming in? But I'll pick this other caller again. Your name and question, please. Hello? Well, I seem to have a problem with the lines, but we'll keep picking. Yes, good evening. Hello? Well, let's get back to the studio. Yes,
Yeah.
Robert.
Yes, Bubu, I think Bubu has been proved to be a really good thing. And I want to really commend the president and the minister, our Minister of Trade, Honorable Amelia Chambade, who are behind, and her team who are behind this Bubu. It has really shown that Uganda can actually depend on its products.
Robert, sorry, let me interrupt you a bit.
Yes.
There's, I still have a number of callers on the line. Yes, please. Can you give us your name and question very briefly?
All right. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Bernard is my name. I'm from Musono.
Yes, Bernard, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Mine is not just a question, but just a point of appreciation. Numa, I'm a key accounts manager and I'm doing sales. I've often informed these boys in the key accounts, the ShopRite, the Capital Shoppers, the big supermarkets in Kampala, and I just checked. I did go to the factory, but I checked the order these boys use when distributing, the discipline. They are real so people, and when you say people are recruited on merit, I'm really thankful to you, Numa.
Good.
You are aware that Uganda needs to go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Middle income
Thank you.
country.
That's a
Thank
message of compliment and appreciation. I'll have another caller. Please, when you go through, please give us your name and your question. Be as brief as you can. Hello?
Hello, this is Kafero.
Yes, Kafero, please.
This is Dr. Kafero from Kagohe, where Numa comes from. I really appreciate what Numa has done for this country, and as he said.
Sorry, I think we've lost that one. But again, compliment. Looks like you're doing justice in that space. I'll pick another caller. Please give us your name, question or comment. Hello? Hello? Well, I think I have a bit of a challenge on that line. I'll pick maybe another two callers. Yes, I know my lines are blazing, but I think, yes, please give us your question or comment, please.
Hello, my name is Lucia Asieno.
Yes, please.
And I'm calling from Sudaka.
Please go ahead with your question or comment.
Now, I thank everyone in the studio. That was a very good presentation from Ochichi and the gentleman from Numa.
Okay.
Very inspiring. Now, my question is to Mr. Ochichi. How can one benefit from Enterprise Uganda? Because I run a small business of making reusable sanitary pads, and Enterprise Uganda is for our company.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Lucy. I'll pick again another caller. Hello, your name and question, please.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Please go ahead with your question.
Mine is not a question. I want to appreciate Charles and you for this program. I just have one comment. I want to ask Ochichi, when are normally the training for Enterprise Uganda, when do they take place? Because I'm interested to participate in the training.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll take again another caller before we come back with the panel. Hello, please give us your name and question or comment.
This is Ungana Frederick Michael calling from Mutaleja.
Mutaleja, yes, please go ahead.
I would like to thank Mr. Robert and Terry for that solution to this name.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we can come back. Charles, there's some few questions that came to you, and of course appreciation. I think someone was asking about how they can get training, support from you. Yes.
Just very quickly, there were some comments from Bernard just said that he saw even how the marketing team of Noma is doing the marketing, and just felt what a professional team. It was evident, and I wanted the listeners to know that if there is one marketing you can ever get that is truly transformative, it's a marketing from a satisfied customer. And for Noma, that's good feedback. Kafero is saying, this fellow is doing great things for the country. And again, I want to associate with Kafero's comment. Noma started from Bushenyi.
I was working with him.
And he, as he says, he worked with Kafero. He was from Bushenyi. He's delivering the benefits to the entire Uganda, both in terms of employment, in terms of sourcing of materials, in terms of bringing foreign currency to this country. The power of a well-structured creation of a lasting entrepreneur for the country is immeasurable. And as a country, we need to truly invest in creating this kind of journeys. And then Athieno is saying, when are these trainings? Another person also saying, when can Enterprise Uganda's trainings be? We normally have a schedule of trainings, and these cover any stage where you are. If you have never been to business, we have a business, training for a startup. If you are micro, we have a training for that level. If you are at a small size, we have training for that purposes. Then the big ones, then family enterprises, then succession planning, then management of your own boards, and then introduction to loans to banks. All these are various products that we give. But I want to tell Athieno and all the others who are interested in the products of Enterprise Uganda that you can come to our premises on plot number 38 Lumumba Avenue. We will try to start shortlisting you for what we feel is appropriate product for you. My telephone number is 0772 699 808. But when you come to Enterprise Uganda, we shall be able to see which products we want to get you to start consuming.
Well, I'll pick some other callers who really want to be part of the discussion. When you go through, please be brief. Give us your name, question, or comment, because we have a number of people on the line who would like to engage the gentleman in the studio. Please give us your name and question.
My name is Richard Nwinjisega.
Yes, Richard. Go ahead.
I thank Chico for the great job he's doing for the country. I would like to understand if he has integrated the concept of ITT into his operations, especially the agricultural technology, where we do traceability and whatnot.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sure he has heard you. We'll pick another caller. Please give us your name or question. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, please kindly give us your name and your question or comment.
I'm called Godfrey Chadria Mbarara. I work with Omeme. First of all, I want to thank Robert for the assistance he has in business. I one time interacted with him. He's so wonderful guy really in his business. One thing I want to ask him is, how is he balancing the challenges with the local producers, especially the local millers? And for him, he has a good setup. And if you look at his product, I just wonder how he's balancing his business and how he's able to make profits out of his business with all these enormous challenges, especially in price fluctuation. I believe once he shares that, it can even encourage more people to come on board to follow him.
Thank you very much.
One of the challenges that will help others to come into that business.
Thank you.
To
Thank
a
you.
high level.
Thank you. Robert, very quick, I think the two questions are for you.
Okay.
The
Balancing,
first, sorry,
yes.
the first one was on ICT.
Yes.
Yes, whether you've incorporated that component, especially with issues also of traceability and the like.
Okay, ICT. Now, the balancing of, let me start with that one. Balancing with the competition, you know, the local competition, surely, because it's, you make a choice. And for us, we made a choice of quality and the procedures, you know, following the procedures and the standards. Anyway, Numa has its own standards. So we are not going to, we are not going to really do substandard products because we want to compete with the local producers. We keep our standard and the price, we add that price on our product. So whoever tests it, whoever, you know, likes it, then he will go for it, and that's it. Yeah, and then the component of ICT, yes, we use we have computers, we have some of the things like that is office, you know, office work. Yeah.
And I think I've visited him. I've seen the kind of interaction he has with the farmers at the grassroots.
Yes.
And it's quite superb. And without a proper system, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And the traceability component is also coming in. This millet is from this place. I think that is quite strong.
So, Mr. Chichi, maybe because this is related with the bubu, but when we are going, we are advocating for bubu.
Yeah.
Let government buy, let other people buy our products as local manufacturers. We must make sure that we have quality products, because quality products does not need a university degree, does not need a diploma, does not need, you have to commit, to get committed, to say this is, I have to make this product, follow the standards, and that's when we are also going to benefit from the bubu, because we are saying buy our things, but are they of high quality? So we still have some challenges, but we can always, you know, talk to our government, talk to our ministers, like the grain policy. It is not, I don't think it is being implemented, because you find where we are buying grains, they are mixed with sand and stones. Probably maybe there is challenges post-harvest, you know, handling. But probably these farmers also don't have maybe tarpaulins, because we are working with farmers and we know sometimes we give them inputs and tarpaulins because we want to achieve the quality.
Yeah.
But still, this shouldn't be our job. It should be government to come in and help these farmers so that we get
the right quality.
The right quality
Charles,
of materials.
What do you pick from that so far?
Earlier on, Godfrey had mentioned, Godfrey is with Umeme. Godfrey had said he admires the persistent spirit of Robert. Again, I go back and say, whenever challenges come, they can come either at a national level, at the industry level, they can even be global. But at the end of the day, those challenges will have their own coping mechanisms at the level of the entrepreneur. That's why the element and the trait of persistence is one of the traits that we dwell on and say, for 2 days, we will teach you how to become a persistent person. So what he's doing, even in trying to get the value from the farmers, I think they will show some pictures somewhere. Robert is working backwards to the value chain to go and meet the farmers in their gardens and teaching them on how to handle the crop at the time of harvesting, handling the crop at the time of drying, storage, and then delivering to the store. That is persistence and commitment. But coming back to Bubu, he makes a very valid point. You can announce any kind of a statement you want to announce. But at the end of the day, a buyer is buying because of two things. He wants a solution that fulfills the expectations and value for money. Number two, that solution should compete with other alternative suppliers of the same solution. Now, as we announce Bubu, this is very good. We now bring in elements of incentive nature to make more people to support a Bubu policy. But as we do that, we must work backwards and quickly assist the Mukono producer of a solution. The producer in Jinja, in Tororo, in Soroti, tell them that Bubu is here, but we are not going to force a buyer to come and buy bad eggs just because they are made here. We are not going to get a buyer to buy bad food because the one who was made is a Ugandan with a child at home and needs to feed the child. Bubu must go with business solutions sold on merit.
Thank you, Charles. I'm sorry I have to rush you here because time is not our best ally. But Robert, there are so many jobless youths. And the impact of COVID-19 is actually likely to drive that number even higher. There are those that are just hanging on a thread.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them? Because you lost a job in your 20s.
Yes.
And still managed to put together the pieces and move.
Yes.
What counsel would you give?
Now, you see, I think government need to support some of these bodies like Enterprise Uganda because it is doing a great job. I know it has trained a lot of graduates. And take an example of me. You start small. You start small and you work within your means. They will tell you we want to work in capital. That's what I thought. But it wasn't. Because today, if you get a graduate, give him money, but does he have a business plan? Does he know what he's going to do? Because he's seeing somebody is doing this and then that's what he's also going to do. So I think the whole thing is, there are so many problems in Uganda. And let them find those problems and they turn them into businesses. You find a youth, having a smartphone of 600,000 and the working capital can be 300,000. Mr. Chicha has trained the youth. Some of them have really listened to him. They just go get 400,000, go down there, buy some sheets, and because they know how to speak English, they come, they are confident, they enter Serena here, they sell some of those sheets from 10,000 to 20,000, and it multiplies. So by the time you have that experience, so by the time you go to the bank, you also have your records, and you say, I need 10 million because I have worked, I have done it. I know it all. So work within your means.
I hear you.
That's it.
Charles, the counsel to I would like to call it an army of young men that are not and women that are not employed. And then we're seeing new injections joining that lot.
I think the constant thing that has tended to delay the young people to get on with this kind of a game that Robert has played is getting the impression that business is about startup capital. Not knowing that business actually starts with a business operator. What's going on in your mind is what's going to determine your success and also going to determine your failure. Ugandans have given young people offers and gifts. Families, friends, relatives leave the government program for now. There is a lot every Ugandan has tried to do to a young person, and in the process, we have not given these young people the true roadmap on how to become an entrepreneur.
Sure.
So there is a big problem on the side of the population, the way we look at how to get an entrepreneur to take off. We ourselves have sometimes spoken in wrong language to our people. How do you finish a degree that cost us cows, that cost us land, and then you want to come and start by making bricks in this place? Mommy will be sleepless for a week, for a month, and will be the first to tell you, I'd rather see you out of this place, just go and be jobless in Kampala. So we need a conversation that will enable people to know that where you start does not really matter. What matters is that wherever you are, whatever you do, and using whatever you are using, produce value for money, be of value to society. Society pays what makes them better.
He mentions the overemphasis on money, capital. I want you to say something about the forms of capital. Because there is intellectual capital. Some of these young men are good ICT savvy guys.
Correct.
And the country is contending with lots and lots of ICT related problems where they can offer solution for money.
Very true. Very correct indeed. And some of these people have got talents. Some of these people have got just interests and hobbies. Those can be transformed into solutions people pay for. Today, it's just that COVID has just disrupted it. The comedians are making massive money. Every Friday, you go to Lugogo, you can't get a venue there of 3,000.
Comedians are at work.
Comedians are simply saying, people are not laughing. I want to give people to laugh once a week. And I'm going to give them 2 hours of laughter, enough for the next week. And if you see the money they make out of that, and the person walking away after laughing, he feels it was worth it.
And tomorrow you can pay double.
Correct. So there are needs in the society. Ask yourself, whatever the education has done for me, it is to broaden my thinking. And in my broadening the thinking, what is it that I can start from? And again, do not imagine that your first business must be your dream last destination. This fellow started with something that would have been laughable. And no relative would have endorsed it. You just say this man is cursed. He lost a job at 27. Now look at what he's doing. Today they are all saying, what a great story. What an inspiration. Dr. Kafero was calling all the way from Bushenyi. We just lost to receive his full story or his comment. I'm sure they are saying, what a blessing it is to have Masiko.
Very good. Thank you very much, Charles. Robert, your final remarks as we wind up. You wanted to begin somewhere.
As really parents, because we are building the better, the future generation, entrepreneurs. As parents, we need to talk to the youth. We need to counsel the youth. I think this time of COVID has really taught us, maybe has brought us together to talk to our children, to to understand and let them also ask, where are we going? Because we don't want these scenarios. Like the mistakes that were done by some of us, you're already in the future, but you are planning for the future. So let them plan for the future when they have not reached there. And but basically, we have hopes in our government that they are listening and they have seen what has happened during this time of COVID, and we really hope they will do something, about it. And regarding like URA, taxes and all that, they have a very good slogan, developing Uganda together. So if we are developing together, then let them listen to us. Let them talk to us and they listen, and we plan together on how we are going to develop our home.
Very good.
Thanks.
Your final remarks. And I need to add that some appendage there. I think we need URA in one of these sessions, but go for it.
First of all, this evening has again brought out something clearly about building an entrepreneur. The journey of building an entrepreneur is not something you just announce and then you push people, and then in 12 months you tell them, I've done away with you. This fellow has been in the game for 25 years. In the 25 years, he has gradually climbed the different levels of building an enterprise. Informal, then formal and micro, then small, then now medium size, and is now exporting. But in all those different stages of enterprise building, challenges have been there. You now need a robust system in the country that recognizes that an entrepreneur, no matter what level they are in, they need continuous support, they need continuous inspiration, and they also need the basics of really what it means to wear a business mindset. Robert has been persistent, but that didn't just come overnight. Robert has been a networking person, a persuasive person. It didn't come overnight. But I also want to come to what I feel we as a nation should start doing. Let's build a consortium of partners. Enterprise Uganda signed an MOU with the Uganda Insurance Association. One time they will be here. Robert lost his factory. It burnt down. Insurance is a key component in this game. He would have picked up quickly. But he then had to shed his tears, wipe them out, and again start from zero. But if he had insurance, it would have been a different story. We also know the partnership with financing agencies. And I hope as we continue with this Sunday conversation, we are going to get more partners who are relating with the private sector, who are doing something in building what I call transformative entrepreneurs. And these are entrepreneurs who grow non-stop. If you put an entrepreneur and you confine them to some cottage area in Mukono, and the person has remained producing 2 doors for the last 10 years, 2 doors every month, that fellow has occupied a space somebody should have occupied and should have moved up.
On that note, Charles,
thank you.
Robert, thank you very much for being part of the show.
You're welcome.
Don't plan for your evenings in the evenings. Don't plan for the future when you're in the future. That is a key message, and I'm sure you've taken lessons in that space. I've been your host, Charles Woji. Today we had the story of Numa Feeds, so we had Robert Masiko telling us the story. And as usual, of course, our coach, Charles Ochichi, we've been sharing how you can lift or uplift yourself from being a micro operator to a bigger operator with, global connections like Robert here. Until next time, join us again. I need to say that next Sunday we'll be discussing a lot more, aspects of business that can help you weather the COVID-19 storm, but also there is life after COVID-19. Until then, I've been your host, Charles Woji. Have a good evening.